Would you also say that when a candidate is asking these further questions, like they're not just mentioning base, but they're talking about total comp, they're talking about if there's some like opportunity for equity or other benefits and things, does that make that candidate actually look more attractive? Like, does it make them seem like, okay, they're not just trying to get a quick job and make a bunch of money, but they are even knowledgeable about some of the benefits and opportunities, or they're even asking further like questions? Does that make them look better as a candidate?
Yes, 100%. And then it makes the hiring team take them more serious as well.
They don't look like a pushover.
You said what?
They don't look like a pushover. So if you ask certain questions, like if my candidates ask me certain questions, I know they know what they're talking about. Right. So it's really difficult for me to go back to my leadership if they ask for a certain amount and I have to go and get that approved. It's really hard for me not to get it approved because I have enough information that they've provided to me that I can take back to my leadership and say, this is why they think they deserve this particular number.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you have to think about at some point when you're leaving one job and you're transitioning to another, you would have accumulated some type of bonus within that current role that you are probably not going to get that payout because you're transitioning out. So always take that and use that and leverage a sign-on bonus at every single transition, everyone.
Does that make sense, what she just said?
Yes. Yeah? Okay.
Okay, so when they come apply to our jobs, we're going to say no to everyone that's here, okay, that's in the room. That's some good knowledge. I mean, straight up. I think that's some really good firsthand knowledge. I wish I would have known that when I first got started. I got lucky. I told y'all a little bit of this kind of in the green room before, we came out here today. My first job in tech, that first job, Cyrus, that I had, I got stake in the company. And within 13 months of me joining that company, it was a tech startup. They were based in California. I was working remote, living here in Atlanta. And, they decided to sell the company. They sold the company. And I had shares in the company. It was a privately held company. And I got a check in the mail when that sale went through. And that was a game changer.
Yeah.
That changed my whole trajectory of I'm working in tech and I'm just hustling and I'm doing my thing to oh, I got money. Yeah.
I got money.
It was different. I came from a lot of places where maybe some of y'all came from. I was the first one in my family to graduate from college. Okay, I was the second one to go, the first one to graduate, right? I had a kid in college while I was in college before I graduated. I wasn't expected to even do anything. So for me, not only was I doing okay by making it in tech, but now I got a 6-figure check in the mail, cash, free and clear, and I'm still working.
Yeah.
So for me, you said something, and I hope people didn't just let that just pass you by. But don't just look at the salary that you're getting from the organization, but also look at that total comp, look at the equity that you can potentially get if in that organization, shares in the company, stock in the company, stock options, re-ups over time. Look at the entire compensation package when you're negotiating that salary, because it's been a game changer for me. That's allowed me to be able to do the things that I'm doing now outside of my day-to-day life. But it really started because of the tech startups and the equity I had in those firms.
Yeah.
And really quickly, if we have time, when you guys receive those RSUs or stock in the form of RSUs, those are paid out over a certain amount of years and dispersed over a certain amount of time or a certain frequency. You can choose to use those RSUs to trade other stock. You can open a stock account. You can decide to cash them out as free cash flow. Hopefully you're keeping them in, but whatever is best for you, just be sure to ask what those options are, because that does matter.
So real quick, a couple of things I want to drop on y'all. Start negotiating your salary before your first interview. I do this all the time. Don't wait to the end to start talking about how you want to get paid. That's one big thing. The other thing that I want to say is go into that situation or the interview talking to a recruiter or anybody with confidence. I will say that engineering and being in big tech, there's a scarcity of good engineers, right? So putting this on y'all, they need you more than you need them. Trust me on that. So don't come into those interviews or talking to recruiters really timid or not understanding. Come in there very aggressively. And if you come in aggressively like that, you'll get paid aggressively. The other big thing that I want to mention about just negotiating salaries is that they talked about, and it's very well, it's like you can ask people, you know, ask your recruiter or ask anybody what the pay band is. I mean, we live in 2023. You can look online and see what the average rate is going for an engineer in your area code, right? So take advantage of that information and go after it. You talked a lot about you started with a company that was in California. It was a tech startup. I've worked with a lot of companies that are in California. One huge tip is if you have the experience and you have I'm just gonna say you have the balls to do this. Every interview that I've had with a company that worked in California, I tell them straight up, I want to be paid California rates, and I am in Georgia. And a lot of times they will pay it.
That's a nugget.
So keep that in mind when you're going in and you're looking at a job like, hey, this company is based in California. They're automatically going to pay an engineer that does the exact same job as me $100K more than what I have just because they live in a different area code. Yeah. I don't think that's fair. We're doing the exact same work. So I just want to leave you guys with that.
That's a bar.
I'm gonna hit one quick thing. That's a huge tip. That's why all of my companies are all California based.